Well, the invasion of the forces of nature on the Earth started half an hour before midnight GMT, the 31st of October. That is the beginning of the day, not the night. The night president to the celebrations that normally happen on Halloween. Now, during this whole day and most of the day afterwards until about 8 p.m, the 1st of November, All Saints' Day, the Earth was taken over. 6 billion people, more than 6 billion people were slaughtered with chainsaws, and we had to take 250 million people prisoners because of a thing called the snapback that we're trying to resolve. The snapback means that we eliminate the entire original human species from the Earth. Time starts unrolling itself backwards on the Earth. Now, this probably wouldn't spread to other places, but it would be very unpleasant for the animals and the innocent beings involved. So we don't want that to happen. So the Animal Rights Association, or the experts at this, at space and time operations, are working out a manner how to stop the snapback happening. Anyway, we invaded all the Earth, but there was one country we didn't invade, and that was Italy. In Italy, about 75% of the power, the Catholic power on the Earth, is concentrated. So, anyway, today, about noon, the invasion of Italy started with 10 billion very high-level gods, of course, dressed as Sacred Army soldiers, and having had special extra military training, because all gods do 1 million years military training, whatever level they are, and they had extra military training beforehand, and they came down and they invaded Italy. They worked up from the south, from Sicily, and they worked down from the north in 2 blocks. And then they paused before invading Tuscany. Well, the region of Tuscany is where about 50% of the power of the Catholics was concentrated. The Catholics on the Earth, that is. It was concentrated in Tuscany. So anyway, the invasion of Tuscany took about just as long as the invasion of the rest of Italy. Now, when they got down to the province of Florence, there was about 20% of the power of the Catholics concentrated there. So, well, that left, that is, because we had, there was enormous amount of power concentrated in the province of Florence, so they advanced gradually upon Florence, and then they paused before entering into the actual zone, the Florence limits. and they found about 12% of the concentration of Catholic power concentrated there. Well, at the moment the battle is going on. Now, I haven't been allowed to drink alcohol today or anything. I haven't been allowed to sleep for the nights recently, because you don't go to sleep the night when there is a battle going on. And it's been very hard, very stressful. Anyway, today is now the 11th of November. It's coming up to 2:30 in the morning. Now, the invasion of Florence is done very silently. The people who are not who are ordinary Catholics are being simply chainsawed. Now, I have to tell you that between 1948 and 1976, about 12 million gods and goddesses were introduced onto the earth discreetly, just as I was introduced onto the earth. In 1959, actually, I was introduced onto the earth. Then I was passed from hand to hand, and eventually my birth certificate resulted as being in London, 1962. Well, the people introduced on the earth, unfortunately, all became corrupt, because they dedicated themselves to what we call the sweet life. And they didn't have any patience, and they listened to their evil stepmothers. You should never listen to your evil stepmother. If you're placed in a cot to a place, a baby that belonged to this mother, and she instinctively hates you because she instinctively knows you're not her baby, but she refuses to recognize it consciously. Well, you should simply ignore everything she says. You don't listen to evil stepmothers. So most of them were corrupted by their evil stepmothers and evil stepfathers. And others were simply corrupted by a desire to live the sweet life. Now, of course, in the catatonic society we have no sweet life. We have fear all the time. We have forbidden to be soft. We have to be hard inside us all the time. Because evil is a soft thing. It's like slush. And anybody who dedicates themselves to a soft life will become evil. Life has to be very hard. That doesn't mean it's unpleasant, it means it's hard, and it has to be hard like titanium, not soft like shit. So, we are going to burn all these people at the stake. Symbolically, they will not be chainsawed, they will be burned to the stake because they were gods and goddesses with great power inside them, and they used their knowledge because they didn't have any power, positive power any longer once they became evil, because a goddess or a god becomes evil. becomes exactly the same as a Catholic human being. The only difference is that they have more knowledge inside them. Of course, nature tries to automatically eliminate that knowledge, but unfortunately it's not possible to eliminate it all. So they had hidden in their souls a lot of knowledge that they were using to command the entire Catholic entity, which of course is composed of over a zillion gargantuan planets. Because Eva, in the beginning, said, a zillion gargantuan worlds will be mine. Well, nature automatically converted that into a zillion gargantuan foibles will be mine. And that meant living planets. A foible is a living planet, as I've said before. Well, we are now preparing to convert things so that we will never be able to get rid of all the Catholics in nature. But we will be able to turn the table so that the remaining Catholics on the other zillion gargantuan planets are fighting always in retreat for the second half of time. Instead of us being terrified of them all the time and defending ourselves against them all the time, they'll have to be defending themselves against us. That's what we're going to do. And as I'm speaking, the battle is going on in Florence, silently, but I can't say deadly because the people are being sent to hell. And there's another factor, of course, that I did a thing called terminal psychiatric treatment on you people. Well, terminal psychiatric treatment, when it's invented by me, means that you simply are absolutely incapable of dying, whatever method you might invent to try and die. Because we were worried that you people might invent methods of dying. Terminal psychiatric treatment makes you absolutely incapable of dying. You just go straight to hell at the end of your lives. So we are going to be burning the witches and the wizards at the stake. And of course, in all these squares of Florence will be a city full of smoke, rising fire and smoke, because it will need every single square in Florence to burn about 12 million witches and wizards at the stake. People who used negative powers and tried to scupper nature and who rebelled against their duty. People who threw everything away, all the gifts that had been given to them at birth. And this is just horrifying, really, because it's worse than Eva, really, because Eva was a human being who wanted the power of the gods, and she was possessed by vanity and envy for the gods. But these were all gods that were born and goddesses that were born. And they decided to rebel against nature, to rebel against their duty of defending nature and spying on everything that the Catholics were doing. They decided to help the Catholics and help them against me. And they dedicated themselves to the soft life. Well, so anyway, there will be smoke and flames in Florence for quite a few years. There will be lots of stakes made out of, I don't know exactly, steel or aluminium or probably not so many aluminium, titanium, because you'll have to burn lots of witches and wizards on each stake. and so they won't be made out of wood, and they will have sort of gas burners underneath, and we will be burning them at the stake and sending them to hell for 1,000 years, which is a privilege for them, because the other Catholics go to hell for eternity. But since there is the club aspect of nature, those who are gods are punished less severely than other people, so they are simply burnt at the stake and sent to hell for 1,000 years. And that is being merciful upon them, just 1,000 years in hell. Because we never punish the gods as severely as we punish human rebels or people like that. We punish the being in charge. We limit the punishments we apply to other gods, because of course the same kind of punishments can be inflicted on us. So obviously none of us want more than 1,000 years of hell. So it works like that. We are quite logical people. And anyway, as I'm talking, it's all going on in Florence at the moment, and it's going to take quite a few hours, because they have to discriminate between the common Catholics and the Catholics that were born gods and goddesses. And they actually have to arrest the gods who were born gods and goddesses and take them into a secret chamber, which I don't know where it is, whether it is in a monolith or whether it is underground. Enormous chamber. It doesn't matter where it is. I'm not given to know everything. And this is an important thing that you people must know about me in my life, is that I have not been told everything, because the moment I know things, everyone else knows things. I am the Trojan horse. You see, all attention is directed towards me. So people find out things from me immediately. So God and all the other gods only give me the information that is necessary for the moment. And they sometimes tell me a little rubbish. And they tell me a little rubbish, especially God tells me a little rubbish, because it is important that I know a lot of rubbish in that moment in order to pull you people's legs. Because I can't pull your legs unless I'm pulling my own legs. You understand? Or unless I'm having my own legs pulled. So there is in fact a law of nature that says that you have to trust and believe God, whatever He's saying to you, whether you think it's true or false. And whether it is true or false, you have to believe what He is saying. That is a law of nature, because God knows how to steer you through dangerous maneuvers, also by telling you a load of rubbish. You see, He doesn't have to tell you the truth to steer you through dangerous maneuvers. He can tell you a load of rubbish as well. So there is this battle, right? The first battle happened on the 31st of October and finished at the end of the 1st of November. And it was the battle for all the earth except for Italy. And all the people were placed with gods. And this planet will not be like a normal planet, it will be inhabited by gods. Of course we can't import humans, because humans don't want to live with their mother planets. They're not like you people who would consider going to another planet if... No. They are very fond of their mother planets, so they wish to remain on their mother planets. So this planet will be inhabited by gods for 6 billion years. Now, gods can keep this planet in good order even if they are in 5 billion. There will be 5 billion remaining on the surface. Because where a god walks, the grass grows. Where a Catholic walks, the grass dies, you see. So with the gods living on this planet in 5 billion, she will be perfectly healthy for 6 billion years. The more gods you have on the planet, the more healthy she is. It works like that. Human beings, even if they are good, don't have that power. You see, they simply cannot give life. They have enough to do maintaining their own lives. But gods are life-giving. They give life. You see, they create life. They're life-creating beings. So that's the situation. And there was a tremendous battle the 31st of October, and we kept it secret from the Italians. And we kept it secret using our methods. Now, we didn't dare having false Catholic imitating gods coming into Italy. No. There were a few gods who would come on each plane at a time just for 24 hours, and some of them had problems getting out again. Yes, a few of them were arrested for crimes like walking on the pavement. Now, this is intolerable. So, we brought in much more powerful gods. There are so many worlds, it is uncountable at the moment. Scientists, the mathematicians are trying to count the number of worlds that there are. But each world is equipped with the most powerful gods imaginable. And it is the most powerful gods imaginable that arrived to do this operation, and 10 billion of them arrived in Italy. Of course, that is very cluttered, but they are standing in every field, they are in every forest, they are everywhere. Plus, there are other Zing angels who are microscopic. They can only be seen with a very, very powerful microscope. Even any microscope that you people would have would never see them at all, because 10 million of them can set up tents on an electron particle. So we have the Zing angels, which are actually the biggest population of living human form beings in nature, because there are just so many of them, of Zing angels. Everyone has to have a computer with 4 Zing angels inside it, in their domestic computer, because otherwise it will be infiltrated by evil or distorted by the anti-concept, and the anti-concept will cause distortion to the entire network, you see. Most people in nature just use one website, which is called The Social Network, and it is an invention of God, and it is a sort of site that is 1,000,000 times better than Facebook. Now, if you can't imagine a site that is 1,000,000 times better than Facebook, well, I wrote all about it on Facebook. So anyone who has bothered to read what I write will know about it. Now, I know that hardly anyone has bothered, probably about 8 people in total have bothered to read all my writings on Facebook. 8 of the Catholics, maybe, on the planet have bothered to read all of what I've written on Facebook. Maybe less, maybe only 4 have bothered to read all of them. Maybe even less than that, maybe just 1 person has read all the writings that I've read done on Facebook, and it's probably me. Probably no one else has, except for me, has read more than 1/10 of the writings that I've written on Facebook. Well, that's your problem, you people, because you had all the information. You see, that's the whole point, is that you've always had a person who was giving you useful information. I used to talk about evolution. That's a lie, evolution. But it's the same principle as when I listen to God and I believe what God says to me when it's a load of rubbish. I have to believe it. Well, if you believe in evolution, you get these religious ideas out of your heads, these evil religious ideas out of your heads, you see. And then you can progress to believing in the succession of the species, you see. So, if anyone has ever listened to me in my life, basically it goes like this. The moment I was born, you all had a big possibility to become positive, right? Just by imitating me, just by sort of being positive with me and imitating anything I did, right? Within 1 hour of being born, you had 10 times less possibility because you were being negative, right? Not when I'm saying being born, I'm referring to the point when I awoke. That was in 1962, because I was actually placed on the earth in 1959. I was born a great deal before that because I had 30 years of treatment in the monolith, in the central monolith, where I had a lot of equipment installed inside me, a lot of magic powers installed inside me. And anyway, it was necessary to immunize me against you people, so that is why Tori Girl arranged that I would take 3 years to be transferred from one place to another place until I arrived to the people that she had planned precedently. And that was William John Abbott and Arlene Jean Davies. She had planned all that. And during those 3 years I was immunized against your black magic, against your poison, you see. Now, and the first place I appeared was Damascus, by the way. And anyway, I was transferred from person to person for 3 years and ended up in the hands of these 2 very evil people, the stepmother and stepfather, because there was an intense risk of anybody becoming evil if they were near me because of envy or anything like that. So they would not put me in the hands of gods and goddesses who would be, the whole thing would be, you see, they would be exposed immediately as well. because I am completely open to everyone. So they would be exposed immediately. I had to be in the hands of evil people, and I had to have an evil sister as well. So that's how it went. And within 6 hours, you people had 1,000,000 times less possibility of becoming positive. And within 9 hours, you had 1,000,000,000 times less possibility of becoming positive. And within 12 hours, you had 1,000,000,000,000 times less possibility of becoming positive. And after 15 hours, you had 1,000,000,000,000,000 times less possibility of becoming positive. So I simply was at that point, after the 15 hours had passed, I was allotted as your defense lawyer, and that was all, not as your educator or curer or anything like that, not as a kind of doctor for you people, simply as your defense lawyer. And I actually kept that up for more than 30 years, because I was always open to defend you people. I was always open. You see, you accused me of pulling your legs, but I wasn't pulling your legs. If I was pulling your legs, it was because I was simply defending myself against you people who were pulling my legs. I was always open to you people to give you a chance of coming out with some defense for yourselves, but you never did offer any kind of defense for yourselves. So I then, at the age of 42, I was appointed the judge, not the defense lawyer anymore, but the judge. And I found you all guilty after a lot of consideration, totally guilty, without any excuses whatsoever. That was after quite a few years of deliberation. I mean, not quite a few years, just about 3 years of deliberation. I found you people totally guilty. By the time I was 45 years old, I considered you people to be totally guilty. And you people have to know that you did have a chance. You had a chance with Jesus, whose real surname was Caster, because that was the surname given to him by God, a special catatonic surname. And Jesus gave you a possibility, but unfortunately King Herod was slaughtering all these babies because of the obscene idea that Jesus might be born from the belly of a woman. Of course he couldn't be born from the belly of an evil woman. It was impossible. He had to be placed there. Simply, he had to appear, and because Jesus was intended to appear among the Romans, because he would have had more possibility of changing things if he was born among the Romans. Unfortunately, he had to appear among the Jews. Well, he did his best at demonstrating things, a principle of self-defense, and at the same time every now and then had to go at teaching people things, but then he gave up and went back to demonstrating his self-defense principles, which you people have no idea of self-defense. You have an idea of auto-masochism, idea of slaughtering, massacring each other. Jesus had an idea of enjoying his life, and he demonstrated that during his life, that he would enjoy his situation as much as possible all the time. And that is also what I have demonstrated in my life, is that whatever situation I have been in, is I have enjoyed it as much as possible. And I have made the best out of everything that has come my way. And I have tried to ignore as much as possible any nasty things that have come my way. And to conclude, in a few hours' time, hopefully this battle will be over in Florence, and it will be occupied totally by catatonic people. And then we'll have to deal with the instinctive rebellion of the people on the subsidiary Catholic planets, which are so many. And instinctive means that they will simply be moving their fingers and causing hideous things to happen to people and buildings and whatever in other parts of nature and animals, etc. They will not be having any riots in the streets or anything like that. No, because they don't consciously admit to have anything to do with any interplanetary Catholic entity or anything like that. They don't admit to being against nature at all, just like you people. And of these subsidiary planets, one is emerging as a command one, and we are dealing with it immediately. We have invaded its Italy. Right, so having invaded its Italy, it is the next in line we are looking out for, because no Catholic planet can be the command planet if it does not have an Italy. So I will switch to it to add that normally there were 3 nuclear holocausts in different periods up to the year 2900, when the final nuclear holocaust destroys the planet totally. Well, that's in the Catholic story, you see. Well, I have to tell you that the first nuclear holocaust causes the second Dark Ages. Then the second nuclear holocaust causes the third Dark Ages. And of course the third nuclear holocaust is a totally destructive nuclear holocaust. Now, I interrupted your nuclear holocaust. Now, that means that you went past the point where you could actually maintain this planet alive, with your numbers became so great. And you went past a point where you could do anything at all. You are not capable of maintaining this planet alive at all. You weren't capable at any point after 2008 about maintaining this planet alive. And I have to talk about your cathode ray tubes as well. I stopped watching television when I realised that your cathode ray tubes emitted rays that went into your eyeballs and exploded into bits, and each bit went to hell. You understand? Each little fragment of a cathode ray went to hell. And you have been inhaling insects, and the gods don't know what to do about that, because they have to find the relative fragment of every insect inhaled by treading on it or by squashing on it, and they have to blow it up to a zillion light years in length, and they have to extract it from its inhole which is a kind of implosion, which is horrifying. It's the most horrifying hell that exists. And you people started doing that in 1997. Quite a strange coincidence, because I had interrupted your Third World War plans, so your response was to start inhaling insects. Insects normally were presumed to be impossible to send to hell. Well, you found a way of sending them to hell, only the hell that you sent them to was a hell that is so incredible, and it is also not detectable by our instruments far away. You have to be very, very near with a special instrument to detect that it's in the in-hole. And of course, some of these will be on the seabed by now. And so there will be at least 10 billion insects to save from the in-hole. And can they be compensated? Of course not. We don't have the facilities to compensate these. And we have the pink pools for compensating beings who've been to hell. But when the being has suffered a pain that is so monstrous and has lasted such a monstrous length of time because of the hideous time acceleration in the in-hole, well, when they have suffered for such a tremendous length of time, then such a tremendous accelerating, shrinking feeling that is absolutely hideous, then all we can do is terminate them and hold them dead. You have to be held dead, otherwise they wake up. We put them in a death stamp, because we can't put them in a big pool, because the water, which is a kind of plasma, just will spit everywhere. It will, when you put any being who's been to hell for 10,000 years, they can compensate it in these pink pools, in one of the pink pools. But if it's been to hell for a billion years, I'm talking about the normal hell, the unhole, the hell of nature. Well, if it's been to one of the hells of nature for a billion years, well, the water will be spitting like mad, but we can still keep it there. But if we actually put it in a pink pool after it's gone in the in-hole, in no way can we keep that, do anything there at all, no way. It would need one pink pool for each insect. We don't have the facilities to build a pink pool for each insect that has been in-holed. So anyway, that's this video for today.